Moonlit Promises.
An Alphabet Sweetheart's Romance.
Written by Susanne Ash. Please like it. Subscribe.
Chapter 1. Molly. The Welcome to Juniper Falls sign hasn't changed in 12 years. Same weathered wood, same cheerful blue lettering, same promise of mountain charm just around the bend. I ease my foot off the gas pedal, letting my rental car slow as I pass by it. The knot in my stomach tightens. Home. No, not home anymore. Just a place I used to know. I check my GPS even though I don't need to. The roads are etched into my memory like the lines on my palm. They are familiar even after all this time. Main Street appears ahead, and I grip the steering wheel tighter as buildings come into view. Brooks General Store with its wooden porch swing. The copper kettle, where Tanner and I cut that thought short before it fully forms. This isn't about the past. It's about Jenna's wedding. 7 days of professional smiles, perfect shots, and then I'm gone again. Simple. Except that nothing about coming back to Juniper Falls is simple. I park near the town square and slide my sunglasses to the top of my head. The early summer light bathes everything in a bright glow that makes the fresh green leaves shimmer. Wildflowers dot the edges of the square. My camera practically begs to be lifted from the passenger seat. Just a couple of shots. The maple tree in the center of the square has grown, its branches reaching higher than I remember. I frame it against the mountains and click. Check the display. Delete. Try again. The composition is fine, but it doesn't capture what I'm feeling. This disorienting blend of belonging and not belonging. Molly Evans, as I live and breathe. I lower my camera and turn to find Hazel Elliott standing behind me, her silver hair catching the sunlight. She's smaller than I remember, but her green eyes are just as sharp, just as knowing. Ms. Elliott. My voice catches as she pulls me into a hug that smells like peppermint and lavender. None of that, Miss Business. It's Hazel to you. She holds me at arm's length, studying my face like it's one of her crossword puzzles. You've grown into yourself. The city's been good to you. I don't live in the city anymore. I have a little house outside Portland now. I don't mention that it's never quite felt like home either. It's good to see you. She taps her charm bracelet against her wrist, a habit I'd forgotten until this moment. Jenna told me you were coming back for the wedding. She's over the moon that you're photographing it. It'll be beautiful. The waterfall in early summer is perfect. Hazel's smile turns knowing in a way that makes me uneasy. And have you seen anyone else yet? The question hangs between us. We both know who she means. I just got into town. I busy myself with adjusting my camera strap. I'm heading to check out the ceremony site now, actually. Well, don't be a stranger. Hazel pats my arm. Stop by before you leave. My door's always open. She walks away before I can respond, her floral skirt swishing around sensible shoes. Same Hazel Elliott, still seeing more than she should. I watch her cross the square, stopping to chat with a young couple I don't recognize. Some things never change. Hazel's always been the beating heart of Juniper Falls, connecting people, nudging lives in new directions. I wonder how many other couples she's helped along over the years. With a deep breath, I turn my attention back to the town. Porter's Creamery still stands at the corner, though the sign looks newer. I spent countless summer nights there with Tanner, sharing rainbow sherbet cones and dreams that seemed as endless as the stars. The memories hit harder than I expected, swift and sharp like stepping on broken glass. I lift my camera again, focusing on the steeple of the community church where we used to sneak into the bell tower. Click. The gazebo where we danced after prom when Tanner couldn't afford the fancy after-party. Click. The bench where we carved our initials beneath the seat, hidden from view but permanent. Click. None of the photos will make it into any portfolio. They're just for me. They are proof that this place was real, that we were real, even if it all slipped through my fingers like water. I get back in my car and head toward the north side of town, toward the trail that leads to the waterfall. Toward the memories I've spent years carefully folding and tucking away. The waterfall sounds exactly the same. A constant, soothing rush that echoes through the clearing. I follow the newly built wooden walkway, camera in hand, mentally mapping shots for the ceremony. Summer light filters through the lush green canopy, creating dappled patterns I'll need to work around. But golden hour will bathe everything in perfect light, transforming ordinary scenery into something magical. I'm so focused on the light patterns that I don't notice him until it's too late. Careful. That board's loose. My heart slams against my ribs before my brain can even process the voice. Deep, steady, achingly familiar. I turn, and there he is. Tanner Hayes. 12 years older but unmistakably him. Taller than I remember, shoulders broader beneath his flannel shirt. His sandy hair is shorter now, no longer falling across his forehead the way it used to when he'd lean down to kiss me. But his eyes, those warm brown eyes, they're the same. Except they're not looking at me the way they used to. Thanks. The word comes out too quiet, almost lost in the sound of the falls. He nods once, jaw tight. You're here for the wedding? I'm photographing it. I lift my camera slightly, as if he needs proof. Jenna asked me to check the site today. Ryan mentioned someone was coming. His voice is carefully neutral. He adjusts the tool belt slung low on his hips. It's a new feature that my eyes linger on a moment too long. I'm building the arch where they'll stand. That sounds beautiful. I shift my weight, suddenly aware of the space between us. Not just physically, but everything else. 12 years of silence. A lifetime of what-ifs. It's coming along. He gestures to the half-finished structure near the edge of the clearing. Natural wood, the edges still rough but the form taking shape. Should be done tomorrow. Tanner, I should get back to it. He cuts me off, already turning away. Ryan wants it finished before the rehearsal. Of course. I nod too quickly, grip my camera too tightly. I won't keep you. He hesitates, and for a moment, I think he might say something else. Ask why I'm really here. Ask why I left. Ask any of the questions I practiced answering in my head 1,000 times. Instead, he just nods again. Good to see you, Molly. It's polite. Professional. And completely hollow. I watch him walk back to the arch, his movements precise and controlled as he picks up a sander. The muscles in his back flex as he works, and I lift my camera without thinking and frame the shot. Tanner against the waterfall, bathed in dappled light, head bent in concentration. My finger hovers over the shutter. This is what I do. I capture moments, preserve feelings in light and shadow. I lower the camera without taking the picture. Some moments aren't mine to capture anymore. I turn away and continue scouting the site, marking mental notes about angles and lighting. The waterfall creates a natural backdrop, the rushing water catching golden light in the late afternoon. I find 3 perfect spots for ceremony shots, 2 for the wedding party, and several opportunities for intimate portraits of the couple. All the while, I'm all too aware of Tanner's presence. The soft sound of his sanding. The occasional soft thud when he sets down tools. The scent of fresh cut wood mixing with the earthy dampness of the falls. Will you need any special lighting? His voice startles me. I turn to find him standing closer than before, wiping his hands on a cloth tucked into his belt. Not for the ceremony, I answer, grateful for the professional question. For the reception, maybe, depending on how late it runs. Golden hour should give us perfect natural light. He nods, looking past me toward the waterfall. That's what I told Ryan. Said it would look best right before sunset. A small smile tugs at my lips despite everything. You remember. His eyes snap back to mine, wariness replacing the neutral expression. Remember what? Golden hour. You used to help me chase it. The words slip out before I can stop them. I remember. He says it so quietly I almost miss it. Something passes between us, a current of shared history too strong to be denied. His eyes soften for just a moment, and I see a glimpse of the boy I knew. The one who held my hand as we watched sunsets paint the mountains gold. The one who believed in forever. Then it's gone, replaced by a carefully constructed wall. The path gets slippery when it rains, he says, all business again. You might want to bring backup shoes if the forecast changes. I will. Thanks. I tuck a strand of hair behind my ear, an old nervous habit I thought I'd outgrown. Your arch is going to be perfect. Jenna's lucky to have you working on it. Just doing my job. He steps back, creating distance between us. I nod, taking the hint. I have everything I need for now. As I gather my equipment, I feel his eyes on me. When I look up, he's already turned away, back to his work, back to the life he built without me. I walk back to my car, the camera bag heavy on my shoulder. 7 days. I just need to get through 7 days, and then I can leave again.
Chapter 2. Tanner. She's back. The thought circles through my mind as I hammer support stakes into the ground around the wedding arch at the waterfall site. Each strike echoes against the rocks, punctuating the questions I've spent 12 years burying. Each breath of fresh mountain air is a memory I've tried to forget. Molly Evans is back in Juniper Falls. I turn and check the arch's stability, running my hand over the curved surface I've been sanding. Nothing should catch. Everything should be smooth, seamless. Unlike the churning mess inside my chest since our encounter. She looked the same. Different, but the same. Her chestnut hair was shorter, falling just past her shoulders instead of down her back, but she still tucked it behind her ear when she was nervous. Her eyes were still that sharp, clear green that seemed to see right through me. And when she said my name, "Looking good, man." I startle and turn to find Ryan approaching along the wooden walkway, coffee mug in hand. He gestures toward the arch with his chin. "Thanks." I set down my hammer and stretch my back, just securing it so it doesn't shift before the wedding. Ryan takes a sip of his coffee, watching me with that therapist look he's perfected. "So, you saw her?" I don't pretend not to know who he means. "Yesterday. Right here. And nothing." I grab a shop towel and wipe my hands. "She's here to take pictures. I'm here to build an arch, end of story." Ryan's eyebrows lift skeptically. "That's it? 12 years, and that's all you've got? What do you want me to say?" I turn back to the arch, inspecting a joint I've already checked 3 times. "It was a long time ago. Jenna says you two were planning to get married." My hand's still on the wood. "Jenna talks too much. She wants everyone to be happy at this wedding." Ryan sets his mug down on a nearby rock and crosses his arms. "Including you. And if that means clearing the air with Molly." There's no air to clear. The words come out sharper than I intended. I take a breath. "Look, I'm over it. I've been over it for years." The lie sits heavy on my tongue, but it's one I've practiced. One I almost believe some days. "If you say so." Ryan shrugs, but his eyes are too knowing. "Jenna mentioned you should know that she and Molly kept in touch. All these years." Something cold slides down my spine. "What?" "Not a lot. Mostly social media, occasional calls. But enough that Jenna knew to ask her to photograph the wedding." Ryan picks up his mug again. "Thought you should hear it from me instead of being surprised." I turn away, suddenly needing to do something with my hands. I grab another stake in position and near the arch, hammering with more force than necessary. "Doesn't matter to me." "Sure." Ryan's voice is too gentle, too understanding. "Well, Jenna wanted me to remind you about the setup at the reception site this afternoon. 2 o'clock. I'll be there." He lingers a moment longer, then sighs. "For what it's worth, she seemed nervous about seeing you too." The sound of his footsteps recedes along the walkway before I can respond. Not that I would have known what to say. Jenna and Molly kept in touch. All those years when I thought Molly had disappeared completely, vanished from Juniper Falls without a backward glance, she'd been connected to someone just 1 degree away from me. Close enough to reach if I'd known where to look. Highland Orchards hasn't changed much since my childhood when Mom would take me apple picking. Same rolling hills dotted with fruit trees. Same weathered barn converted into an event space. Same wooden tables spread across the grass for the reception. I finished securing the last string of lights to the barn's overhang and checked my watch. Almost 4. We've been setting up for nearly 2 hours, and there's still no sign of. A car pulls into the gravel parking area, and my heart does that stupid thing again, the lurch and stutter that happened yesterday at the waterfall. But it's just Lila from the flower shop, her SUV loaded with potted plants and sample arrangements. Need a hand? I call, climbing down from the ladder. If you're offering. Lila smiles and opens the back doors to reveal a collection of flowering plants in decorative containers. Graham's back throughout, so I'm on my own today. I help her unload, carrying heavy terracotta pots to the spots where she directs. The scent of lavender and herbs fills the air, sweet and heady in the afternoon heat. These look great, I say, setting down a blue hydrangea near where the reception tables will go. Wait till you see what I have planned for the arch. Lila adjusts a potted rosemary with practiced hands. I'm making something special to complement your woodwork. Looking forward to it. We work in companionable silence for a while, until Lila says casually, I hear Molly Evans is back. I nearly drop the pot I'm carrying. News travels fast in Juniper Falls. Always has. For the wedding, I say neutrally. Lila gives me a sidelong glance. You two were quite the item back in the day. Ancient history. I set the pot down with more force than necessary. History has a way of circling back around. She says it lightly, but there's something in her tone that reminds me of Hazel Elliott and her matchmaking ways. Graham and I found each other again after 30 years apart. I've heard the story. Everyone in Juniper Falls has. High school sweethearts separated by circumstance, reunited decades later when Graham came back to care for his ailing father. It's the kind of second-chance story people around here love to tell. But my story isn't like that. Molly didn't leave because of circumstance. She left because she chose to. Good for you and Graham, is all I say. Another car approaches, and this time it's her. I recognize the rental even before she steps out, camera bag slung over her shoulder, sunglasses perched on top of her head. She's wearing jeans and a loose white shirt that catches the breeze. Simple. Beautiful. I turn away before she can catch me staring. I should check on the dance floor, I mutter to Lila, who gives me a knowing smile that I pretend not to see. I busy myself with the wooden dance floor I installed earlier, testing each section for stability. From the corner of my eye, I watch as Molly walks the perimeter of the reception area, camera in hand. She stops to chat with Lila, both of them laughing at something I can't hear. Then she moves toward the apple trees, framing shots against the backdrop of mountains and sky. She's in her element. I remember how she used to be with a camera. Focused, alive, seeing beauty in places most people overlooked. That hasn't changed. The way she tilts her head, the slight furrow between her brows when she's composing a shot. It's all achingly familiar. For a moment, I allow myself to wonder what might have happened if she'd shown up that night. If we'd driven away from Juniper Falls together like we planned. Would we have made it? Or would she have left eventually anyway, drawn to bigger places, bigger dreams than I could offer? She turns suddenly, catching me watching her. Our eyes lock across the orchard, and for a heartbeat, time seems suspended. Then I drop my gaze and turn back to the dance floor, pretending to adjust a corner that doesn't need adjusting. When I look up again, she's moved to the other side of the barn, out of sight. It's better this way. Safer. I have a life here now. My uncle's construction business. The house I'm renovating on Pine Creek Road. Plans that don't include reopening wounds that took years to heal.
Chapter 3. Molly. 12 years. Has it really been that long? I pause to catch my breath, leaning against a pine tree and looking back at how far I've come. The trail to Lookout Point is steeper than I remember. Juniper Falls sprawls below, nestled in the valley like a toy village. From here, it looks exactly the same. Like time stood still while I was gone. But time never stands still. Not for towns, not for people. Not for Tanner and me. I push off from the tree and continue upward. The path narrows as it winds around a cluster of boulders, then opens to the clearing I've been both dreading and longing to see. Lookout Point. Our place. The flat outcropping of rock still juts out over the valley, offering a perfect view of the mountains beyond. The old oak tree still stands sentinel at the edge, its branches reaching toward the sky. And the flat boulder where we used to sit still waits silently, as if it's been expecting me. I approach slowly, almost reverently, and set my camera bag on the ground. My fingers trace the rough bark of the oak, then the cool surface of the boulder. And there they are, just as we left them, me+th surrounded by a lopsided heart. 12 years of wind and rain haven't erased them. If only memories could be worn away so easily. I sit on the boulder and close my eyes, letting the past wash over me. It's all still so vivid. The night we were supposed to meet here. The stars scattered across the sky like diamond dust. The small bag I'd packed, filled with only essentials and dreams. The excitement and terror of what we were about to do. And then the conversation I overheard that changed everything. "You sure about this, man?" Jason's voice, coming from the open window of the locker room. "Running away with Molly? What about college? Your scholarship?" A pause. Then Tanner's voice, hesitant in a way I'd never heard before. "I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if we're being stupid. If we're too young. You're throwing away your future, is what you're doing." Another pause, longer this time. "Maybe. But I love her. Love won't pay the bills. And what happens when she figures out she could do better? You really think she's gonna be happy stuck in some crappy apartment while you work construction? Girls like Molly don't stay, man." Silence. No defense. No argument from Tanner. I open my eyes, the memory fading into the summer air. That same day, I'd received the letter. A last-minute acceptance to the journalism program I'd applied to months earlier and never expected to get into. Full scholarship. The opportunity of a lifetime. A sign, I'd thought. A way out that wouldn't hold Tanner back from his own opportunities. A chance to prove I wasn't just a girl like Molly who needed someone else to complete her. So I ran. No explanation, no goodbye. Just a note left in his mailbox that said simply, "I can't. I'm sorry." A few words to end everything we'd planned. Words instead of the truth, "I don't want to be the one who ruins your life." I pull my camera from its bag and frame a shot of the valley below. Through the viewfinder, everything looks smaller, more contained. More manageable. I've spent 12 years looking at the world this way. One carefully composed frame at a time. But some things can't be captured or contained. Some things demand to be felt in their entirety, messy and overwhelming as they may be. Like seeing Tanner again after all this time. Like the way my heart still recognizes him, even when my mind knows better. Like the guilt that's never quite faded, no matter how many miles I put between us. I take the shot and lower my camera. It's a good photo, technically perfect, but it doesn't capture what this place really means. Some things can't be preserved in pixels. With a deep breath, I pack up my camera and stand. The sun has moved lower in the sky, painting the valley in warm hues. Golden hour is coming soon. Time to head back down. Back to a town full of ghosts. Back to a wedding I need to prepare for. Back to Tanner, who has every right to hate me. "Molly. Over here." I spot Hazel waving from a corner booth at the Copper Kettle, her silver hair catching the warm light of the diner. I weave through the tables, nodding hello to a few familiar faces. Some people recognize me, others who look at me with the curious appraisal reserved for outsiders. I hope you don't mind that I ordered us some sweet tea already, Hazel says as I slide into the booth across from her. Sarah still makes it the same way. Sweet enough to make your teeth ache. Perfect. I smile, grateful for the familiarity. Thanks for inviting me. I was just going to grab something at the general store. Nonsense. You can't come back to Juniper Falls and not eat at the Copper Kettle at least once. She studies me over the rim of her glasses. You look tired, dear. Been busy with wedding preparations? Just scouting locations. I fiddle with my napkin, avoiding her perceptive gaze. I went up to Lookout Point today. Ah. The single syllable contains volumes of understanding. Quite a view from up there. Good for gaining perspective. Before I can respond, a cheerful voice interrupts us. Molly Evans. I was hoping I'd see you here. I look up to find Jenna Mason, soon to be Jenna Wilson, standing by our table, menu in hand and smile bright enough to light up the room. She's exactly as I remember her, complete with blonde ponytail, freckled nose, and energy that seems to radiate from every pore. Jenna. I stand to hug her. I was going to call you tomorrow about the shot list. Perfect timing, then. She squeezes me tight, then steps back. How's the scouting going? Did you check out Highland Orchards? Yesterday. It's beautiful. The light at sunset is going to be magical. That's what Tanner said when he recommended it. She glances over her shoulder, then turns back with a smile that's just a little too innocent. Speaking of whom? The diner door chimes, and my stomach drops as Tanner walks in, tall and solid against the evening light. He scans the room, spots us, and hesitates visibly before approaching. Ryan's running late, he tells Jenna, barely glancing my way. Something about a last-minute patient. No problem. I'll go check on him. You can keep Molly and Hazel company until he gets here. Jenna gestures to our booth. I've already got your usual order in. Hope you don't mind. The trap is so obvious it would be comical if my heart wasn't hammering against my ribs. Jenna's matchmaking isn't subtle, but then again, subtlety has never been her strong suit. Tanner's jaw tightens, but he slides into the booth next to Hazel, putting as much space between us as possible. Ms. Elliott. How many times do I have to tell you to call me Hazel? She chides, patting his hand. You're not in third grade anymore. Sorry. Old habits. His voice is stiff, formal. So different from the boy who used to whisper dreams against my skin under summer stars. I'll let you all catch up, Jenna says with a wink that isn't remotely discreet. Drinks are on the way. An awkward silence descends after she leaves. I stare at my menu, pretending to study items I already know by heart. Tanner examines the salt shaker like it contains the secrets of the universe. Only Hazel seems perfectly at ease, humming softly as she rearranges the sugar packets. So, I finally say, desperate to break the tension, how's the arch coming along? Fine. He doesn't look up. Should be ready for staining tomorrow. Tanner's become quite the craftsman, Hazel interjects. He built the new bookcases for the school library last year. Clara says they're the most beautiful ones they've ever had. That's amazing. I mean it sincerely. Tanner always had a gift for working with his hands, seeing possibility in raw materials that others missed. You always wanted to build things that would last. Something flickers across his face. Surprise, maybe, that I remember. It's a job. Don't let him fool you, Hazel says. That job has turned into one of the most successful construction businesses in 3 counties. I smile, genuinely proud of him. That doesn't surprise me at all. Tanner shifts uncomfortably. How about you? Photography working out? It has. I'm grateful for the neutral topic. I specialize in weddings now, but I've done some editorial work too. Magazine covers, a few gallery shows. Good for you. 3 simple words, but they hit like stones. Good for you. Translation, glad leaving was worth it. Sarah arrives with our drinks, momentarily saving us from the weight of everything unsaid. "Well, look who it is," she exclaims, setting down glasses of sweet tea. "Molly Evans, all grown up and fancy. How's life been treating you?" "Can't complain." I muster a smile. "How's business?" "Busy as ever. Especially now that Hunter and Quinn are bringing hiking tours through town regularly. Good for the bottom line, though my feet might disagree." She laughs and pulls out her order pad. "Now, what can I get y'all tonight?" We order meatloaf for Hazel, chicken fried steak for Tanner, and a burger for me. As Sarah walks away, Hazel excuses herself to the restroom, leaving Tanner and me alone. The silence stretches between us, a living thing with weight and texture. I take a sip of tea, wincing at the sweetness. "Some things you grow out of, I suppose." "Jenna mentioned you're staying at Rose Cottage," Tanner finally says, eyes still fixed on the table. "Yeah. Found it online. It's one of those vacation rentals on Maple Street." I shift my napkin. I was lucky to get it. Seems like every rental in town is booked solid for summer weddings. Tourist season. He nods. Town gets crowded this time of year. Small talk. We've been reduced to small talk, when once we couldn't say enough to each other, couldn't get the words out fast enough. Tanner. His name feels both foreign and familiar on my tongue. I know this is awkward. I'm sorry about that. He looks up then, finally meeting my eyes. Awkward. He repeats the word like he's testing it. Is that what we're calling it? I don't know what else to call it. I twist my napkin in my lap. We haven't seen each other in 12 years. We're practically strangers now. Strangers. Something hardens in his expression. Sure. Let's go with that. That's not what I meant. It's fine, Molly. He cuts me off, voice flat. Ancient history, right? Water under the bridge. He glances toward the restrooms. Hazel's taking her time. Probably on purpose. Probably. I attempt a smile. She always did fancy herself a matchmaker. The muscle in his jaw twitches. Some things can't be matched back together once they're broken. The words land like a slap, all the more painful for being true. Before I can respond, Hazel returns, followed closely by Sarah with our food. Perfect timing. Jenna chirps, taking a seat. Ryan just texted that he'll be here in 5. I'll grab him a menu. Conversation shifts to safer topics. Wedding details, town gossip, the weather forecast for the ceremony. Tanner participates minimally, answering direct questions but offering nothing more. When Ryan finally arrives, full of apologies and stories about his last-minute patient, Tanner visibly relaxes, as if the buffer of another person makes my presence easier to bear. I pick at my burger, appetite gone. This was a mistake. Coming back was a mistake. There's too much history here, too much damage I can't undo with a smile and an apology. When dinner finally ends, Tanner is the first to stand. Early morning tomorrow, he says, already reaching for his wallet. I should get going. Let me get this, Ryan insists. Least I can do for being late. Thanks. Tanner nods at the table generally, careful not to look directly at me. Good night, everyone. He's gone before anyone can respond, the diner door swinging shut behind him with a decisive chime. Hazel pats my hand. Give him time, dear. 12 years is a long while to wonder. I'm not sure time is the answer here. I watch through the window as Tanner crosses the street to his truck. Some things can't be fixed. Perhaps. Hazel smiles enigmatically. Or perhaps they were never truly broken.
Chapter 4. Tanner. She needs what? I press the phone tighter against my ear, sure I've misunderstood. The shot list and timeline, Jenna repeats, her voice suspiciously cheerful. I forgot to get it to her, and I've got this whole bridesmaids brunch thing happening, so I can't bring it over. I stopped sanding the edge of the arch and Ryan can't do it because patient emergency. She doesn't even try to sound apologetic. Come on, Tanner. It's just a folder of papers. It'll take you 5 minutes. Can't you text it to her? It's all printed out, with my notes in the margins. Jenna sighs dramatically. Look, I know things are weird between you two. But you're both adults. Surely you can handle a 5-minute interaction for the sake of my wedding? When she puts it that way, I sound like a petulant child. Fine. Where is she? At the waterfall, checking angles or light or whatever photographers do. The happiness in her voice is unmistakable. The folder's in my car. I'll text you where it's parked. She hangs up before I can change my mind. I set down my coffee cup with more force than necessary, sending small splashes of dark liquid flying. 10 minutes later, manila folder in hand, I'm walking the path to the waterfall for the second time today. The morning air is still cool, birds singing in the canopy above. On any other day, it would be peaceful. Today, every step feels like walking into a trap. I spot her before she sees me. She's perched on a rock near the base of the falls, camera raised to her eye. Water droplets catch the sunlight as they splash around her, creating tiny rainbows in the air. Her hair is pulled back in a messy knot, strands escaping to frame her face. She's so focused that she's oblivious to everything else, including me, standing frozen on the path like an idiot. She was always beautiful when she was working. Lost in her own world, seeing things the rest of us missed. That hasn't changed. I clear my throat. Molly. She startles, nearly dropping her camera as she turns. Tanner. I didn't hear you. Sorry. I hold up the folder like a peace offering. Jenna asked me to bring this. Oh. She lowers her camera, looking both surprised and wary. Thanks. I cross the remaining distance and hand her the folder. Our fingers brush briefly, and I pull back too quickly, like I've been burned. Which is ridiculous. We're adults, like Jenna said. Professionals who can handle accidental contact without flinching. Molly opens the folder, scanning the contents. This is perfect. I was actually going to call her about this today. She glances up at me. Let me guess, she was too busy to do this herself? Despite myself, I feel a corner of my mouth twitch. Bridesmaids brunch. Ah. She nods knowingly. Subtle. About as subtle as a bulldozer. A small smile crosses her face, and for a moment, it's almost easy between us. Almost like we're two people who know each other, not two people with a history that ended in wreckage. Well, since you're here. She gestures toward the arch. Mind if I get some shots of you working? For the behind-the-scenes album. I hesitate. The idea of being the focus of her lens makes something twist in my chest. I was planning on finishing up the sanding. Even better. I love the way sawdust catches the light. Only Molly would say something like that and mean it. I shrug, trying to look indifferent. If you want. I return to my truck and grab the sander, acutely aware of her watching me. The familiar work helps me focus. I work in smooth, even strokes with the grain, checking for rough spots, ensuring the curve is perfect. The wood responds to my touch, revealing its natural beauty beneath my hands. I hear the soft click of her camera but don't look up. It's easier this way, pretending she's not there. Pretending this is just another job. You're really good at that, she says after a while, moving closer to examine the arch. The craftsmanship is beautiful. Thanks. I run my hand along the smooth curve. Pine with a hickory inlay. Should last a long time. You always did prefer things that endure. She says it softly, almost to herself. Some things are worth putting in the extra effort. I meet her gaze steadily. I need to get some shots from higher up, she says suddenly, backing away. Would you mind helping me? There's a ledge over there that would be perfect, but it's a bit tricky to reach. Sure. I set down my tools and follow her to a rocky outcropping near the edge of the falls. The stone is slippery with spray, the footing uncertain. I extend my hand without thinking. Watch your step. She hesitates, then places her hand in mine. Her fingers are slender, cool to the touch, and they fit perfectly against my palm. Just like they always did. I steady her as she climbs, keeping my other hand lightly at her waist. When she reaches the ledge, she doesn't immediately pull away. Like old times, she says with a small smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Remember when you used to help me get the craziest shots? You mean like nearly getting us killed on the ridge trail during that lightning storm? The memory comes unbidden. That was a great photo, though. She laughs, and the sound ripples through me like the waterfall beside us. My first magazine cover. I still have it somewhere. The admission slips out before I can stop it. Her eyes widen slightly in surprise. You kept it? She asks softly. I drop my gaze, suddenly uncomfortable with how much I've revealed. It was a good photo. She doesn't press, and I'm grateful. Instead, she turns to her work, framing shots of the waterfall with the arch in the foreground. I stand beside her, offering balance when she leans out a bit too far, adjusting her position for the best angle. We fall into a rhythm that feels natural, like no time has passed at all. Once, when she nearly slips, my arm goes around her waist automatically. She steadies herself against my chest, her back pressed against me for the briefest moment. My heart pounds stupidly, like I'm a teenager again instead of a 32-year-old man who should know better. I think I got what I needed, she says finally, turning to face me. Help me down? I nod, not trusting my voice. I climb down first, then reach up to take her camera so she can descend. When she's nearly at the bottom, her foot slips on a wet stone. I catch her reflexively, my hands at her waist as she braces herself against my shoulders. For a heartbeat, we're frozen like that. Her face inches from mine. I can feel her breath against my cheek, see the flecks of gold in her green eyes. Something electric passes between us, a current of recognition that has nothing to do with the present and everything to do with the past. Then reality reasserts itself. I set her on her feet and step back, handing her the camera like it's a shield between us. Thanks. She tucks a strand of hair behind her ear, a nervous habit I remember all too well. I should have worn better shoes. You never did have the right footwear for adventures. The words come out gentler than I intended, almost teasing. Like something I might have said before. She laughs softly. Some things never change, I guess. We walk back to the arch in a silence that's less tense than before. I return to my tools, and she continues taking photos, but something has shifted. The air between us feels lighter. Tanner, she says as I'm packing up my tools. There's something I should tell you. About why I left. I straighten, and whatever she sees in my expression makes her stop. The guard I've lowered slides back into place so quickly it's almost audible. It was a long time ago, Molly. I know, but it doesn't matter now. I sling my tool belt over my shoulder. We were kids. We both moved on. She studies me for a long moment, then nods slowly. Right. Of course. She gestures toward the path. I should head back. Jenna's expecting these shots by evening. I'll walk with you. It's the polite thing to offer, nothing more. At least that's what I tell myself. We walk side by side down the path, close but not touching. Birds call overhead, and sunlight dapples the ground through the leaves. In another life, I might have reached for her hand. In another life, this might have been just another day together. It's going to be a beautiful wedding, she says as we near the parking area. The arch is perfect. Jenna and Ryan are lucky to have you. And you. I open her car door for her, an old habit I can't seem to break. Your photos will capture everything they want to remember. She smiles, the real smile that lights up her whole face. That's the goal. To preserve the moments that matter. Later that night, I find myself at my workbench, a small block of cherry wood in my hands. Without conscious thought, my fingers trace the outline of what could be. An oval frame, simple but elegant. Perfect for holding a single photograph. The design takes shape in my mind. Clean lines with a delicate carved pattern along the edge. Wild bluebells, perhaps. They were always her favorite. I set the wood down abruptly. What am I doing? Making a gift for the woman who broke my heart? The woman who's leaving again in less than a week? I push the block aside and reach for my sketchbook, burying the half-formed design under drawings for a client's dining table. I have a business to run, orders to fill. I don't have time for ghosts or second chances or whatever this unsettled feeling in my chest might be.
Chapter 5. Molly. The clinking of glasses and bursts of laughter fill the garden patio behind Rising Hearts Bakery. Jenna and Ryan's pre-wedding lunch is in full swing. It's a casual affair with their closest friends and family gathered around tables draped in cream-colored linens. I adjust my camera settings, capturing the bride-to-be as she throws her head back laughing at something her mother said. These are the moments clients cherish most in their albums. Not the posed portraits, but the genuine flashes of joy when they forget I'm even there. Need a refill? I lower my camera to find Tanner standing beside me, holding out a glass of lemonade. Thanks. Our fingers brush as I take the glass, and neither of us flinches this time. Progress, I suppose. Getting good shots? He asks, nodding toward my camera. Always. I scan through the last few frames on my display. Jenna's so naturally expressive. It makes my job easy. She was always terrible at hiding her feelings. He takes a sip of his drink, watching the gathering. Unlike some people. The comment hangs between us. Before I can respond, Jenna appears at our side, her smile just a little too bright. There you are. We're about to serve lunch, and there are name cards at each place. She links her arm through mine, guiding me toward the tables. I put you right over here, Molly. Of course, my seat is next to Tanner's. Ryan gives us a sympathetic look as we sit down, mouthing sorry when Jenna isn't looking. I set my camera safely on the empty chair beside me and unfold my napkin, trying to ignore the butterflies in my stomach. So, Tanner says as servers bring out plates of grilled chicken and summer vegetables, did the waterfall shots turn out? They did. I'm grateful for the neutral topic. The light was perfect. I got some great ones of you working on the arch, too. Any I should be embarrassed about? There's a hint of the old teasing tone in his voice, and it warms something inside me that's been cold for too long. Just the one where you had sawdust all over your face. I smile over the rim of my glass. But don't worry, it's very dignified sawdust. He laughs and for a moment, the years between us seem to fade. I've always been very particular about my sawdust. Our conversation flows more easily than it has since I've been back. He tells me about the furniture business he's built and the old Victorian house he's renovating. I share stories about memorable weddings I've photographed, including one where the ring bearer's dog ate the wedding cake. You always did have a way of finding yourself in the middle of chaos, he says, shaking his head. Remember the time you decided we needed sunrise photos from Miller's Ridge and we got chased by that angry turkey? That turkey was unhinged. I laugh at the memory. But the shots were worth it. Were they? His tone shifts slightly, more serious. Was it worth it? I know he's not talking about the turkey incident anymore. The air between us changes, charged with unspoken questions. Some things were. I meet his eyes, wishing I knew how to bridge the gulf between us. Some things I regret every day. He holds my gaze for a long moment, and I see vulnerability beneath the guard he's kept up. But before he can respond, Jenna calls for everyone's attention to offer a toast. The moment passes. We turn toward the happy couple, raising our glasses as Ryan speaks about finding your perfect match when you least expect it. As the gathering winds down, I pack up my camera and say my goodbyes. Tanner walks out with me, both of us pausing in the dappled shade of the bakery's garden entrance. I should get these photos downloaded, I say, though I'm not in any real hurry. He nods, hands in his pockets. Do you have time for a hike first? I blink, caught off guard. A hike? To Lookout Point. He says it casually, but we both know it's anything but casual. The light should be perfect right now. For photos, he adds. My heart beats faster. I have my camera. And I know the way. A hint of a smile plays at the corner of his mouth. 20 minutes later, we're on the familiar trail, silent except for the crunch of leaves beneath our feet and the occasional call of birds overhead. The tension between us has transformed into something different. Not the awkward strain of recent days, but the anticipatory hum of possibility. Tanner walks slightly ahead, his stride sure and steady. I watch the way sunlight filters through the trees, catching in his hair, illuminating the breadth of his shoulders beneath his blue shirt. He's changed in 12 years, grown into himself in a way that makes my breath catch. We reach the lookout just as the afternoon sun begins its slow descent. The valley stretches before us, bathed in golden light that turns everything it touches into something magical. The town below looks like a miniature model, peaceful and perfect from this distance. Tanner moves to stand at the edge, his silhouette strong against the backdrop of mountains and sky. I raise my camera instinctively, capturing the moment. Man against nature. Stillness amid vastness. You still do that, he says without turning. Find the perfect frame in every moment. I lower my camera. Some habits are hard to break. He turns then, his expression unreadable. Like running? The question hits its mark, but I don't flinch. We both know what he's really asking. I'm not running now. No. His eyes soften slightly. You're here. I move to stand beside him, our shoulders nearly touching as we look out at the view. It's exactly as I remember it. Not everything changes. His voice is quiet, contemplative. I glance at him, studying the profile I once knew better than my own. The stronger jaw, the faint lines at the corners of his eyes, the steadiness that's replaced youthful restlessness. Some things do. For the better, he asks, finally meeting my gaze. I think so. I gesture toward him. You built something real here. Something that matters. And you? His question carries weight. Did you find what you were looking for? I think about the life I've built. The career, the recognition, the endless stream of other people's perfect moments captured through my lens. Parts of it. But not all. It's not a question, and I don't treat it as one. Instead, I look back out at the mountains, watching as the sun inches closer to the horizon. I've missed this place. Just the place? His voice is so quiet I almost don't hear it. My heart hammers in my chest. No. The truth is simple, even if everything else between us is complicated. Not just the place. We stand in silence as the light changes, transforming from gold to amber to the soft pink of approaching twilight. Birds call to each other, settling in for evening. The world continues its eternal rhythms around us, unconcerned with human hearts and their unfinished business. I used to come up here, Tanner says finally. After you left. Trying to understand. I swallow past the lump in my throat. Did you find answers? No. He turns to face me fully. Did you find what you were running toward? Some of it. I meet his gaze, letting him see the truth in my eyes. But I lost things too. Important things. He steps closer, close enough that I can see the flecks of amber in his brown eyes. Molly. Words fail us both. The air between us charges with everything unsaid, with years of distance and regret and lingering what-ifs. His gaze drops to my lips, then back to my eyes. A question. A possibility. I don't think. I just lean forward, closing the last bit of space between us. His lips meet mine, tentative at first, then with growing certainty. His hand comes up to cup my cheek, warm and calloused and achingly familiar. I grip the front of his shirt, anchoring myself as the world seems to tilt on its axis. The kiss deepens, years of longing pouring into this one moment. He tastes like lemonade and possibilities, like the boy I loved and the man I never got to know. My camera presses uncomfortably between us, but I barely notice. All I can feel is Tanner. His heartbeat against my palm. His fingers tangling in my hair, his breath mingling with mine. When we finally break apart, the sun has dipped lower, casting long shadows across the clearing. We're both breathing hard, searching each other's faces for answers neither of us has. That was. He begins. Unexpected? I offer with a small smile. I was going to say inevitable. His thumb traces my cheekbone, sending shivers down my spine. From the moment I saw you at the waterfall, some part of me knew this would happen.
Chapter 6. Tanner. I trace my finger along the edge of the small cherrywood frame, checking for rough spots. Nothing. I've worked on this piece for hours, snatching moments between wedding preparations and regular client work. The delicate bluebells carved along the border are more intricate than anything I'd typically do for a small project. But this isn't just any project. That's beautiful work. I look up to find my uncle standing in the doorway, coffee mug in hand. Mike Hayes has been the closest thing to a father I've had since mine left when I was 8. His approval still matters, even at 32. Thanks. I set the frame down, self-conscious suddenly. Just a small project. Small but significant. He walks over, examining the piece with expert eyes. Bluebells aren't easy to carve. Delicate. He glances at me. For someone special? Heat rises to my face. Maybe. Wouldn't happen to be for a certain photographer who's back in town? News travels fast in Juniper Falls. Always has. I haven't decided yet. I pick up a cloth and wipe away invisible dust from the frame. It might be stupid. Mike takes a sip of his coffee, considering. Depends on what you're hoping to get out of it. I don't know what I'm hoping for. And that's the truth. Ever since that kiss at Lookout Point yesterday, I've been in a sort of daze. Part hopeful. Part terrified. Well, figure it out before you give it to her. He sets his mug down on the workbench. Speaking of which, you're late. Aren't you supposed to be at the waterfall for final setup? I check my watch and curse under my breath. I lost track of time. Love will do that to you. Mike winks, dodging the shop rag I throw at him. I'll lock up. Go on. I carefully place the frame in its box and tuck it into my truck's glove compartment. Not ready to give it to her yet. Not until I know what it means. What we mean. The drive to the waterfall takes less time than it should, my mind replaying yesterday's kiss with every turn of the road. The softness of her lips. The small sound she made when I pulled her closer. The way everything else seemed to fade away until there was only us, only that moment. Then reality had crashed back in. She's leaving in a few days. Going back to her life in Portland, to the career she's built without me. And I'll still be here, watching another chance at happiness drive away. I pull into the small gravel lot and spot her car already there. My heart does that stupid skip and jump thing it's been doing since she came back. Taking a deep breath, I grab my tools and head down the path, not sure what to expect but feeling lighter than I have in years. The clearing is bustling with activity. Lila and Graham are arranging flowers on the arch while Ryan directs a small crew setting up chairs in neat rows. And there, in the center of it all, is Molly, camera in hand, documenting everything. She looks up as I approach, and the smile that spreads across her face hits me like a physical force. Bright. Real. Just for me. I was wondering when you'd show up, she says, lowering her camera. Got caught up in the workshop. I can't help returning her smile. The arch looks great. It's perfect. Her eyes linger on mine, a silent acknowledgement of yesterday passing between us. Jenna's going to cry when she sees it. That's the goal, right? Make the bride cry? She laughs, the sound warming me from the inside out. Happy tears only. We fall into an easy rhythm as the morning progresses. I make final adjustments to the arch while she photographs the process. It feels natural. Right. Like we've been doing this for years instead of dancing around each other for days. Water? She appears at my side, offering a bottle as I finish securing the last row of chairs. Thanks. Our fingers touch as I take it, and neither of us pulls away too quickly. How's it looking through the lens? Magical. She shows me a few shots on her camera display, leaning close enough that I can smell her shampoo. The way the light filters through the leaves onto the arch, it couldn't be more perfect. I look at the photos, but I'm more aware of her. Aware of the warmth of her body next to mine, the excitement in her voice as she explains the shots, and the way she unconsciously tucks her hair behind her ear when she's being technical. Beautiful, I say, meaning more than just the photos. Her eyes meet mine, understanding flickering in their green depths. A blush touches her cheeks. The ceremony's going to be amazing. Yeah. I take a drink of water, suddenly needing to cool down. It will be. We're interrupted by Ryan calling for everyone's attention to go over final logistics for tomorrow's rehearsal dinner and the wedding day itself. The moment passes, but the connection remains, humming between us like a current. As the meeting breaks up and people begin to disperse, Molly turns to me. I should get these photos uploaded and start editing. Jenna wants a few preview shots tonight. Of course. I try not to let my disappointment show. Need any help carrying gear? I've got it. She hesitates, then adds, but maybe we could grab dinner later? After I get some work done? My heart leaps. Dinner sounds great. 7? At the Copper Kettle? I'll be there. Her smile is radiant as she gathers her equipment. It's a date. A date. With Molly Evans. 12 years after she left me waiting under the stars. The kitchen smells like garlic and simmering tomato sauce. I'm halfway through changing for dinner when Mike calls me downstairs. Taste this, he says as I enter, holding out a spoon of his famous marinara. Too much basil? I taste it obediently. It's perfect. Hot date tonight? Just Diane coming over for movies. He stirs the sauce with practiced ease. You're the one with the hot date, from what I hear. I lean against the counter, resigned to the fact that my private life is public knowledge. Dinner with Molly. Not a big deal. Mike's knowing look says he doesn't believe me for a second. That why you changed your shirt 3 times? Twice, I correct him, though he's not wrong about my nerves. And it's complicated. Love usually is. He covers the sauce and turns down the heat. Speaking of complicated, I ran into Bill Evans at the hardware store today. My stomach tightens. Bill Evans. Molly's father. The man who never thought I was good enough for his daughter. How is he? I ask, aiming for casual and missing by miles. Same as ever. Mention Molly's back in town. Mike reaches for the pasta, measuring out portions with his eyes. Said it's the first time she's visited since she left. That catches me off guard. First time in 12 years? Mike nods. Apparently she's been too busy with her fancy career. Christmas visits were always with her mother after the divorce, out in Asheville. The information settles uncomfortably. I knew her parents had split up shortly after she left, but I hadn't realized she'd never come home. Not even once. Bill seemed proud, though, Mike continues, unaware of my internal recalibration. Said she's done real well for herself. Talked about how happy she was to get out of this backwater town, his words, not mine. Sounds like Bill. I try to keep my tone neutral, though my mind is racing. Remember when she left? Mike glances at me, then away. Bill mentioned how she was practically giddy that morning. Said she was grinning ear to ear as she threw her bags in the car. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Grinning ear to ear. While I was waiting at lookout point, heart in my hands, she was smiling as she drove away. I thought you should know. Mike's voice gentles. Before you get in too deep again. I appreciate it. My voice sounds strange to my own ears, hollow and distant. I should finish getting ready. Back in my room, I drop down on the edge of the bed, Mike's words echoing in my head. Grinning ear to ear. Happy to leave. Eager to go. I'd spent years imagining that it had been hard for her too. That whatever drove her away had hurt her as much as it had hurt me. But what if that was just a comforting fiction? My phone buzzes with a text. Molly. Running 15 minutes late. Editing taking longer than expected. Still okay for dinner? I stare at the message, doubt crystallizing into something harder, colder. What am I doing? Before I can second guess myself, I type a reply. Something came up. Need to reschedule. Her response is immediate. Everything okay? Uncle needs help with a project. Sorry for the short notice. There's a longer pause before her next message. No problem. Lunch tomorrow? Tomorrow will be the rehearsal dinner. The wedding the day after. Then she's gone. Again. We'll see. Busy with wedding prep. I set the phone down. The memory of our kiss still burns, but now it's tangled with the image of her smiling as she drove away from Juniper Falls. From me.
Chapter 7. Molly. The morning of the rehearsal dawns clear and bright, sunlight streaming through the curtains of Rose Cottage. I've been awake for hours, staring at my phone, rereading Tanner's terse messages from last night. Something came up. Need to reschedule. Uncle needs help with a project. Sorry for the short notice. We'll see. Busy with wedding prep. The shift was so abrupt, so complete, it gave me whiplash. One moment we were connecting, rebuilding something I thought was long broken. The next, walls higher than before. I dragged myself out of bed and into the shower, letting hot water wash over me as I replay every interaction since our kiss at Lookout Point. Had I misread everything? Had that moment meant something different to him than it did to me? By the time I arrive at the waterfall for the pre-rehearsal photo setup, I'm a bundle of nerves disguised behind professional composure. Jenna meets me at the path entrance, bouncing with pre-wedding excitement. Isn't it gorgeous? She gestures toward the decorated clearing. I can't believe I'm getting married tomorrow. It's perfect. I manage a genuine smile, her happiness contagious despite my own turmoil. You and Ryan are going to have the most beautiful ceremony. Thanks to you and Tanner. She links her arm through mine as we walk. Speaking of whom, he was acting weird when he dropped off the last decorations this morning. Everything okay between you two? So much for small-town discretion. I'm not sure. We had plans for dinner last night, but he cancelled. Jenna's forehead creases with concern. That doesn't sound like Tanner. He's usually reliable to a fault. People change, I say, more sharply than intended. Sorry, I didn't sleep well. No worries. She squeezes my arm. Just don't give up on him yet, okay? He's worth the effort. Before I can respond, she's called away by her mother, leaving me alone with my thoughts and my camera. I busy myself with test shots, checking angles, and lighting for tomorrow's ceremony. Professional focus has always been my refuge, and today is no exception. Until he arrives. I see him before he sees me. He's helping Ryan carry the last stack of chairs, his movements efficient and controlled. The ease between us from yesterday is gone, replaced by a careful distance that's obvious even from across the clearing. When our eyes finally meet, he gives a curt nod before turning back to his task. The dismissal stings worse than I thought possible. Fine. Two can play at this game. I throw myself back into work, photographing details and directing Jenna's siblings for pre-ceremony shots. I laugh at the right times, offer advice when asked, and maintain perfect professionalism. All while acutely aware of Tanner's presence just out of frame. It's exhausting, this careful dance of avoidance in such a small space. By mid-morning, the tension has built to something unbearable. When Jenna announces a quick lunch break, I seize the opportunity. Can I talk to you? I approach Tanner as he adjusts one of the flower arrangements on the arch, please. He glances around, as if looking for an escape route, before nodding reluctantly. Sure. I lead the way to a small clearing just beyond the main setup area, out of earshot but not completely isolated. When I turn to face him, his expression is carefully neutral, giving away nothing. What happened? I ask directly. Yesterday I struggle for the right word. Connected. And then suddenly you're canceling plans and barely looking at me. He shifts his weight, hands in his pockets. Nothing happened. I told you, I had to help my uncle. Don't. I shake my head, frustration building. Don't lie to me, Tanner. After everything, I deserve better than that. A muscle in his jaw tightens. After everything? You mean after you left without a word and stayed gone for 12 years? The bitter edge in his voice cuts deep, but I stand my ground. Yes, after that. After the mistakes I made. After the kiss we shared 2 days ago that made me think we had a chance to fix what broke. Nothing's broken, Molly. His voice softens slightly, though the guard remains. We're just different people now. It was a moment. That's all. A moment. I repeat the words, testing their weight. Is that really all it was to you? His eyes meet mine, and for a second, I see the conflict there. It doesn't matter what it was. You're leaving after the wedding. I know that, but. But what? The edge returns to his voice. We have one good day, one kiss, and suddenly everything changes? I'm supposed to forget that you walked away without explanation? That you never even tried to contact me? I'm trying to explain now. The words burst out louder than intended. I take a breath, lowering my voice. If you just listen. To what? He runs a hand through his hair, frustration evident. To reasons that are 12 years too late? What good does that do either of us? I step closer, refusing to back down. It matters because whatever you're thinking happened, whatever story you've told yourself all these years, might not be the truth. Something flickers in his expression. And what is the truth, Molly? That you couldn't wait to get away from here? From me? The specific accusation catches me off guard. What? No, that's not. Save it. He turns away, then back, as if wrestling with himself. I heard about how happy you were to leave. Grinning ear to ear, your dad said. Understanding dawns. My dad told you that? He told my uncle. Yesterday. Tanner's laugh is hollow. Perfect timing, right? Just when I was starting to think maybe. Whatever he said, it wasn't what you think. I reach for his arm, but he steps back. It doesn't matter anymore. The finality in his voice terrifies me. We had our moment, but let's be honest. You have a life elsewhere. One you chose over this town. Over me. That's not fair. My voice catches. You don't know why I left. You're right, I don't. His eyes hold mine, challenging. Why did you leave, Molly? What was so terrible that you couldn't even say goodbye? The moment stretches between us, 12 years of silence demanding to be filled. And suddenly, I'm tired. Tired of carrying this alone, of the weight of unspoken truths. I heard you with Jason. The confession comes out in a rush. In the locker room, the day before we were supposed to meet at Lookout Point. You said you weren't sure about us, about running away together. Confusion crosses his face. What are you talking about? You were talking about throwing away your future for me. About whether we were being stupid. The words tumble out faster now. And when Jason said girls like me don't stay, that I'd figure out I could do better than some crappy apartment while you worked construction, you didn't defend me. You didn't say anything. Recognition dawns in his eyes. You heard that conversation? Yes. My voice is barely above a whisper now. And then I got the scholarship letter that same day. Full ride to journalism school. The one I never thought I'd get. So you left? Hurt and disbelief wore in his expression. Without talking to me. I thought I was doing you a favor. The tears I'd been holding back start to fall. Giving you the out you were too loyal to take yourself. He stares at me, stunned. You thought you were doing me a favor by disappearing? I know it sounds crazy now. I wipe at my cheeks, embarrassed by the tears. But I was 18 and terrified. Terrified that Jason was right. That you'd resent me. That wasn't your decision to make. The quiet intensity in his voice is worse than anger. That was our future, not just yours. I know that now. I meet his gaze, letting him see the regret that's lived in me for 12 years. But I was so sure I'd be a burden to you. That leaving was the kindest thing I could do. He's silent for a long moment, processing. When he finally speaks, his voice is controlled, but I can hear the hurt beneath. And the grinning ear-to-ear part? Was that kindness too? I close my eyes briefly, another piece falling into place. My father never understood us. He always thought you weren't good enough, that I was settling. I open my eyes, needing him to see the truth. If I was smiling that day, it was because I refused to let him see me cry. I refused to give him the satisfaction. Something shifts in Tanner's expression. It didn't soften, exactly, but there was a crack in the certainty. 12 years, Molly. He says it quietly. 12 years without a word. I know. The weight of it sits heavy between us. By the time I realized I'd made a massive mistake, it was too late. I figured you'd moved on and hated me. He looks away, toward the waterfall, its constant flow a stark contrast to our broken, halting conversation. And now? Why tell me all this now? Because I never stopped loving you. The words escape on their own volition. He flinches, as if the confession is a physical blow. When he looks back at me, his eyes are guarded. It's not that simple, Molly. You can't just drop back into my life, tell me you've always loved me, and expect everything to be fixed. I don't expect that. I take a shaky breath. But you deserve the truth. The truth. He repeats it like he's testing the concept. And what am I supposed to do with it? You're still leaving tomorrow. The reminder cuts deep. I have commitments. A business with clients who depend on me. Exactly. He nods, as if I've made his point for him. Your life is elsewhere. That doesn't mean we can't. Can't what? He interrupts, frustration bleeding through his careful control. Do the long-distance thing? Visit occasionally until it fizzles out? Break each other's hearts all over again? I don't know, I admit, my voice small. I just know that walking away from you again without trying would be the biggest regret of my life. He takes a step back. I appreciate you telling me the truth. Finally. The words come out more bitter than I think he intends. But it doesn't change anything. We're different people now, with different lives. Tanner. I need to get back. He gestures toward the main clearing, where voices indicate the lunch break is ending. We've got a rehearsal to prepare for. The rehearsal dinner at Highland Orchards is a study in small-town elegance. Strings of lights twinkle overhead, casting a warm glow over long tables set beneath the apple trees. Laughter and conversation flow as freely as the wine, everyone celebrating the union that will be official tomorrow. Everyone except me. I move through the crowd with practiced ease, camera in hand, capturing moments of joy that feel a million miles from my own heart. Tanner sits at the far end of the main table, engaged in conversation with Ryan's brother. He hasn't looked my way once since our confrontation this afternoon. You look like you could use this. Hazel appears at my elbow, offering a glass of wine. I accept the glass with a grateful smile. That obvious, huh? Only to those of us who've spent decades watching young hearts figure themselves out. She guides me to a quiet spot near the edge of the gathering. I saw you and Tanner talking earlier today. Didn't look like a happy conversation. I take a sip of wine, considering how much to share. But this is Hazel, the town's unofficial keeper of secrets and mender of broken things. I told him why I left 12 years ago. I keep my voice low. It didn't go as well as I'd hoped. The truth rarely does, at first. Hazel's eyes, wise and kind, study my face. It has a way of stirring up all the things we've worked so hard to bury. I thought it would help. I blink back the sting of tears. I thought if he knew I left because I was trying to give him freedom, not because I didn't want him enough. Ah. She nods, understanding. And how did he take it? Like I've shown up 12 years too late with answers he stopped needing. Hazel sips her own wine thoughtfully. Or perhaps answers he's afraid to believe. I glance across the gathering to where Tanner sits, now listening to Ryan's father give a toast. The lights catch in his hair, illuminating the strong line of his jaw, the slight furrow between his brows. Even from here, I can see the tension he carries. I'm leaving tomorrow after the wedding, I say quietly. Maybe it's better this way. Clean break. Is that what you want? Hazel asks. Another clean break? The question settles heavily in my chest. No. But I don't see another option. There are always options, dear. She pats my hand gently. Sometimes they just require more courage than we think we have. Before I can ask what she means, Jenna calls for me, wanting photos with her bridesmaids near the barn. I excuse myself, but Hazel's words follow me like a gentle challenge. The evening progresses in a blur of toasts and laughter, of captured moments and careful avoidance. Tanner and I orbit each other like wary planets, never quite coming close enough to collide. But I feel his presence acutely, aware of his location even when my back is turned. As the dinner winds down, I find myself alone near the small wooden bridge that crosses the stream at the edge of the orchard. Camera finally set aside, I lean against the railing, watching moonlight ripple across the water. Beautiful night. I turn to find Ryan standing beside me, glass in hand, expression kind. Perfect for a rehearsal dinner, I agree. You and Jenna must be thrilled. We are. He looks toward where his fiancée laughs with her sisters. Though I'll be even more thrilled when it's official tomorrow and I can stop worrying about all the little details. I smile, genuine despite my heavy heart. The details are worth it. They're what make the memories. Speaking of memories. He hesitates, then continues carefully. Jenna mentioned you and Tanner revisited some of yours. That's one way to put it. I look back at the water, its constant movement somehow soothing. For what it's worth, I've never seen him like this before. Ryan's voice is thoughtful. The way he watches you when he thinks no one's looking. The way he's been since you came back. Hope flutters cautiously in my chest. Like what? Alive. Ryan says it simply. Guarded, but alive in a way he hasn't been in all the time I've known him. I don't know how to respond to that. I should go find Jenna, Ryan says after a moment. But I thought you should know that whatever this is between you, it matters to him. More than he's letting on.
Chapter 8. Tanner. Wedding days have a particular kind of magic. I stand at the back of the gathering, watching as Jenna and Ryan exchange vows beneath the arch I created. Sunlight filters through the trees, the waterfall providing a gentle soundtrack to their promises. My eyes drift, as they have all day, to Molly. She moves with quiet grace at the edges of the ceremony, camera raised, capturing moments most people would miss. The slight tremor in Ryan's hands as he places the ring. The tear that trails down Jenna's mother's cheek. Molly sees it all, preserves it all, while somehow remaining nearly invisible herself. But I see her. She's leaving today. After the reception, she'll drive away from Juniper Falls again. Away from me. The thought sits like a stone in my chest, heavy despite the warm summer air. Her confession yesterday plays on repeat in my mind. I thought I was doing you a favor. I never stopped loving you. Beautiful ceremony, isn't it? I turn to find Jenna's grandmother beside me, her eyes bright despite her years. Perfect, I agree. I love a good love story. Especially when it works out after obstacles. She nods toward Molly. Like you and that pretty photographer. Jenna told me all about it. Heat rises to my face. It's complicated. Love usually is, dear. She pats my arm. My Tony and I broke up 3 times before we got it right. 62 years we had together, and I never regretted a single day of the struggle it took to get there. Her words stay with me as the ceremony transitions to celebration. Guests move to the reception area where music plays and champagne flows. Through it all, I keep glancing at Molly, watching her work, wondering what might have been. I keep busy with small tasks until Jenna finds me, radiant in her wedding gown. You're avoiding her, she says without preamble, nodding toward Molly. I'm working, I counter, though we both know it's an excuse. The work is done. Jenna's voice softens. The only question now is whether you're brave enough to go after what you really want. She's leaving, Jenna. So ask her to stay. Or go with her. She makes it sound so simple. Don't throw away a second chance because you're afraid. She leaves me with those words, rejoining her husband on the dance floor. I watch them for a moment, then my eyes find Molly again. She's speaking with Hazel, and as I watch, both women look directly at me. I turn away quickly, but Jenna's words echo in my mind. The hike to Lookout Point feels both endless and too short. At the final bend in the trail, I stop short. She's there. Silhouetted against the sunset, camera raised to capture the mountains bathed in golden light. I take the opportunity to simply look at her, to memorize the curve of her neck, the way the fading light catches in her hair. 12 years gone, and still, the sight of her feels like coming home. I clear my throat softly. She turns, lowering her camera slowly when she sees me. Great minds, I say, taking a step forward. I wanted one last shot before I left. Her voice is steady, but I catch the slight tremor in her hands. I was hoping I'd find you here. I move to stand beside her, close enough to feel her presence but not quite touching. We never finished our conversation yesterday. It's okay. Some things are hard to hear. And some things are hard to say. I gather my courage. Like how terrified I was when I realized I still have feelings for you. I hear her soft intake of breath but continue before I lose my nerve. When my uncle told me what your dad said, it confirmed everything I feared. But the truth you told me yesterday, that's harder to defend against. My voice roughens. Because it means 12 years of distance was built on a misunderstanding that could have been fixed with a single conversation. I should have been brave enough back then to have that conversation, she says softly. Instead of running. And I should have been brave enough to hear you out yesterday. I take her hand, feeling the warmth of her fingers against mine. We've both made mistakes, Molly. But I think the biggest one would be letting you leave again without telling you how I feel. Her hand tightens around mine. How do you feel? Like I've been half alive for 12 years. Seeing you again woke up parts of me I thought were gone for good. I'm hoping that maybe we've both grown enough to get it right this time. A smile trembles at the corners of her mouth. And what would that look like? I still live in Portland. You still have your business here. I don't know yet. I reach into my pocket, pulling out the small box. But I'd like the chance to figure it out together. I open the box I carried all the way up the mountain, revealing the frame I'd carved for her. Her fingers trace the delicate bluebells, eyes widening. It's beautiful, she whispers. I've spent 12 years building things that last, Molly. I'd like to try building something lasting with you. I turn the frame over to show her what I've carved on the back. Our initials, surrounded by a simple infinity symbol. Some things are worth the effort. Tears shine in her eyes. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. I tried to stop loving you. I brush a tear from her cheek. I failed spectacularly. Her laugh is watery but real. I lean forward, resting my forehead against hers. Stay, I whisper. Not forever, if you're not ready. But tonight. Tomorrow. Long enough for us to figure out what comes next. My flight isn't until tomorrow evening, she says. And I'm very good at rescheduling when something important comes up. Important, huh? The most important. She closes the distance between us, her lips meeting mine in a kiss that feels like both an ending and a beginning. I pull her closer, the frame pressed between us like a promise. This kiss is different from the one we shared days ago. This one isn't tentative or uncertain, but sure. Committed. When we finally part, breathless, the stars are fully out, scattered across the velvet sky like witnesses to our reunion. A smile curving her lips. What do we do now? I take her hand, intertwining our fingers. Now we build something new. Something that bridges your world and mine. Something that lasts, she adds, squeezing my hand. Exactly. I kiss her again, briefly. No more running. No more assuming. Just truth, and whatever comes from it. I like the sound of that. She tucks herself against my side as we look out over the valley.
Epilogue. Molly. The string lights twinkle around the waterfall like fallen stars, their golden glow reflecting in the rushing water below. I adjust my camera settings, capturing Hazel as she arranges wildflowers on the simple wooden table we've set up for our engagement dinner. She looks up and catches me, shaking her head with a smile. Put that camera down, dear. Tonight you're not the photographer. I lower the camera reluctantly. Force of habit. Some habits are worth breaking. She straightens, surveying her handiwork with satisfaction. Others are worth keeping. Her knowing look makes me laugh. In the months since Tanner and I reconciled at Lookout Point, Hazel has been our biggest supporter. She helped me find clients in Juniper Falls, let me use her spare room as a temporary studio, and is practically glowing with satisfaction every time she sees us together. You're never going to let me forget that you were right, are you? I ask, tucking my camera into its bag. About you and Tanner? She adjusts one last bloom. Never. It's not often I get to see 12 years of matchmaking finally pay off. The sound of cars arriving pulls our attention toward the path. Our guests are early. I take a deep breath, nervous excitement bubbling through me. Ready? Hazel asks, patting my hand. More than ready. And it's true. After months of splitting my time between Portland and Juniper Falls, building a life that bridges both worlds, tonight feels like the final piece falling into place. I smooth the skirt of my simple white dress. The tiny bluebells embroidered along the hem were Tanner's idea, a callback to the frame he gave me that night at Lookout Point. The frame that now holds a photo of us, taken by Jenna the day after the wedding, heads bent together, laughing at something neither of us remembers now. Tanner appears from the trees, looking unfairly handsome in his rolled sleeves and suspenders. His eyes find me immediately, lighting up in a way that still makes my heart skip. They're here, he says, reaching for my hand. You still want to do this? Try and stop me. I lace my fingers with his, feeling the calluses that tell the story of what he builds, what he creates. What we're building together. Our friends and family filter into the clearing. My parents, keeping a wary distance from each other, Tanner's Uncle Mike with Diane, Jenna and Ryan, Lila and Graham, a handful of others who've become important to us both. They exclaim over the setting, the lights, the waterfall backdrop. This is gorgeous, my mother says, kissing my cheek. Though I still think you should have let me help plan a proper engagement party. This is perfect, I assure her, catching Tanner's eye across the clearing. We share a secret smile. When everyone has arrived, champagne in hand and conversation flowing, Jenna taps her glass for attention. First, I want to thank Molly and Tanner for bringing us all together tonight to celebrate their engagement. She pauses, glancing our way with a barely contained grin. Except that's not why we're here at all. Murmurs of confusion ripple through the group. Tanner moves to stand beside me, his arm slipping around my waist. We're actually here, Jenna continues, for a wedding. A little unconventional, Tanner says, his voice steady beside me. But then, we've never done things the easy way. 12 years apart was enough waiting, I add, smiling up at him. We didn't want to wait another day. Hazel steps forward, producing a small book from her pocket. Since I got ordained online a while back, this elicits more surprised laughter. I'll be officiating. If everyone would gather around. What follows is a ceremony as simple and true as the love it celebrates. We stand beneath the arch Tanner built for another wedding nearly a year ago, now draped with fresh flowers and twinkling lights. The waterfall provides our music, the stars are witnesses. My hands tremble slightly as I face Tanner, but his are sure and steady as he holds mine. 12 years ago, he begins his vows, voice low enough that only our closest guests can hear. I waited for you under the stars with a promise and a plan. Today, I stand under different stars with a deeper promise and a better plan. To love you through distance and doubt, through compromise and change, through whatever life brings our way. Tears blur my vision as I offer my own promises. I once left without explanation, without goodbye, thinking I was giving you freedom. Today I promise to stay. Not just in one place, but in this relationship, in this love we've rebuilt. To speak truth instead of assuming. To face fears instead of running from them. To choose you, choose us, every single day. We exchange simple silver bands. When Hazel pronounces us husband and wife, the small gathering erupts in cheers that echo off the surrounding mountains. The celebration that follows is everything we wanted. It's intimate, joyful, without pretense. As champagne flows and music plays from a small speaker someone thought to bring, I find myself watching it all through a photographer's eye, capturing mental images I'll never put on film but will cherish forever. Tanner finds me at the edge of the gathering, handing me a glass of champagne. Mrs. Hayes, he says, the words new and wonderful on his lips. Mr. Evans Hayes, I correct with a smile, clinking my glass against his. We'd decided to hyphenate, another bridge between our worlds. Any regrets? He asks, eyes searching mine. About not having the big wedding? About all of this? I shake my head, certain in a way I haven't been about anything else in my life. The only regret I have is that it took us 12 years to get here. I don't know. He pulls me closer, his voice thoughtful. Maybe we needed those years apart to become the people who could make this work. Look at you, getting all philosophical. I lean into him, soaking in his warmth, his steadiness. Next you'll be saying everything happens for a reason. Maybe it does. He presses a kiss to my temple. Or maybe we just make the best of what happens. Either way, I'm exactly where I want to be. Me too. I look around at our friends and family, at the waterfall that's become a cornerstone of our story, at the stars above that have witnessed our journey. Exactly where I belong. We're interrupted by Nina, a new friend who recently moved to town. She looks stunning in a perfectly tailored floral jumpsuit, but there's a frantic edge to her smile as she pulls me aside. Your wedding was beautiful. Totally worth the last-minute surprise, she says quickly. Also, I need your help with a tiny crisis. Tanner raises an eyebrow, but gives us space, joining Ryan by the makeshift bar. What's wrong? I ask, recognizing the look that means Nina has done something impulsive again. So, hypothetically, if you told your entire family you had a boyfriend to avoid the judgment, and now they're all flying in next week. I laugh, unable to help myself. You didn't. Nina groans, running a hand through her short dark hair. I did. And I need a solution. Fast. You could always tell the truth, I suggest, knowing before the words leave my mouth how unlikely that is. Right, because, sorry, I lied to avoid your pity will go over so well with my mother. She takes a long drink of champagne. No, I need a boyfriend. A fake one. For at least a week. I shake my head, considering her situation. We'll figure something out. Though I'm not sure finding you a fake boyfriend falls under wedding photography services. Consider it your wedding gift to me. She straightens suddenly, her eyes fixed on someone across the clearing. Who is that? I follow her gaze to where Tanner's friend Chase stands talking with Mike. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the same quiet confidence that my husband exudes. That's Chase. He runs a barbecue food truck. I study Nina's sudden interest with growing amusement. Why? No reason. But her eyes don't leave him, calculating in a way I recognize all too well. Just thinking he might be the solution to my problem. Nina, I begin, but Tanner chooses that moment to reclaim me, his arm sliding around my waist. Sorry to interrupt, but I think it's time for our first dance, Mrs. Evans-Hayes. Nina waves us away with a wink. Go. Enjoy. This is your big day. As Tanner leads me to the center of the clearing, I can't help glancing back at Nina. Should we warn him? Tanner murmurs, following my gaze. I laugh, turning back to the man who's finally, truly my husband. And miss whatever chaos she's about to unleash? Never. The music changes to the song we've chosen from the summer we first fell in love. As we move together beneath the stars, the waterfall singing its eternal song beside us, I know with absolute certainty that some promises are worth keeping. Some loves are worth waiting for. And some journeys, no matter how winding, lead exactly where you're meant to be. The end. This has been Moonlit Promises. Written by Susanne Ash. Copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Production copyright 2025 by Susanne Ash. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe if you want me to put more of my books on YouTube. Visit my website at www.susanneash.com for more of my books or find me on Amazon.